On a dark, silent night, 26-year-old Khadija was walking home after a long day at work.
The streets were empty, dimly lit by old, flickering streetlights casting eerie shadows on the wet pavement. The sound of faint footsteps broke the silence, sending chills down her spine. She tried to calm herself, but couldn't shake the feeling that someone was following her. When she turned around, there was nothing but the stretching shadows of the street. As she reached the door of her old house, her breathing quickened with fear. Her trembling hand reached for the door handle, but stopped when she noticed the reflection of a tall shadow on the wall beside her. She turned quickly, but no one was there. She opened the door hastily, stepped inside, and locked it tightly behind her. Inside the dark house, Khadija tried to steady her nerves, but the oppressive silence only made things worse. Suddenly, a faint whisper came from the next room. She moved cautiously, her hand clutching her chest as her heart pounded loudly. When she opened the door, she found an old, large mirror in the center of the room. She stepped closer, and as she looked into the mirror, she saw the shadow of a tall figure standing behind her. She screamed and jumped back, but when she turned, the room was empty. Then, the lights flickered and went out, plunging the house into complete darkness. She stood frozen, her face dimly illuminated by a faint, eerie glow seeping through a small, cracked window. The air felt heavy and cold, and she could hear her own heart pounding in her ears. She felt a cold breath on her neck. She turned quickly, but saw no one. She began to suspect that the shadow was not outside, but within her own mind. She decided she needed to face the fear, not run from it. Khadija took a deep breath and turned towards the mirror again. This time, she saw not a shadow, but a reflection of herself. A little bit different, a little bit darker. She realized the shadow was her own anxieties and fears, taking shape in the darkness of her mind. She spoke to the reflection in the mirror, acknowledging her fears and vowing to overcome them. As she spoke, the reflection softened, and the coldness in the room began to fade. The lights flickered back on, and the house felt lighter. Khadija finally felt safe and calm, knowing she had faced her fears. She realized the scariest shadows are often the ones we carry within ourselves. She was ready to move on, knowing she had found her strength in the darkest night.